Luckily, there are a number of strategies that can be put into action on an online course platform to ensure we overcome this obstacle, and we encourage learners through motivation that comes from content and technologies at the same time. And that's exactly why we added one more interactive tool in the LearnWorlds platform, the new multi-purpose form builder. So what's the agenda for today? We're going to go and analyze what engagement means and interaction. We're going to see the different stages of it. And then we're going to move on straight into the practical part where we can see how to spark interaction. We'll use for that the new LearnWorlds Form Builder, but principles apply across. So take in all the knowledge and we'll go ahead. As Panos addressed, today we have Panos, our CEO, we have Elisa Zani, our learning designer, and myself from the product marketing team. So let's dive right in. Panos, tell me, so how do we recognize an engaged student from an unengaged student, especially when we're online?
Well, I really love the emojis here. When we're in a classroom, it's very easy to see the sleepy head, the person who is getting detached is not, you lost them. That's the very, as a teacher and as an educator, that's one of the very first things that where you start being aware of reading the classroom and what is happening in the classroom. It's also one of the most troublesome things. It really guts you when you are starting to losing the classroom, but you don't have that luxury in the online space. It's very, very difficult to understand where you have your students, when you have your students' attention, how you can make them really engage with the content, interact when they are actually learning. That's something that we're very used to understanding very easily where we're in the physical setting, but notoriously difficult to see when we're in the online setting. And this is part of LearnWorlds' mission, how to help you create engaging, amazing, or interactive learning experiences. And this is also part of what we'll be discussing here today. So, and it's not just about it's not just about the actual content, it's about the whole journey of a user. It's about whether they interact with your messaging, when they first visit your website, whether they start interact with the forms that you have built, whether they start interacting with the content that you are sharing, with the knowledge that they're trying to share, whether they feel left out, whether they start drifting apart, whether they start not responding to your messages, not doing their homework. And we know that one of the biggest problems of online learning is low completion rates. Even in the best courses with the best professors, they have notoriously low completion rates. And this is where a platform like LearnWorlds tries to intervene, helping you create interactive presentations where the students are not just passive viewers, they're not just watching TV or YouTube, but instead they interact with every little piece of the content. And when they interact, this is where they think. And then when they think, this is when they learn. This is where teaching is much different than learning. It's not the same thing. Teaching something, I'm here presenting, giving out the information, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the information is being perceived. This is where we need to motivate and intrigue the learners, to have them learn themselves. This is where we have to get them to engage with the content, with their fellow learners, with the instructors. And this is also the big concept behind LearnWorlds, because LearnWorlds is a platform that helps you create worlds of learning, where we will be learning more closely to how we learn in the actual physical space, where we need to interact with the content, interact with each other, participate in communities, ask questions, receive answers. And this is where also be happy about something that we learned, or be very, very excited. And these are the little things that make such a big difference in the outcomes of learning and learner satisfaction at the end of the day.
Indeed, and online it becomes even more difficult. So, like, where maybe, or some of us maybe are used to we're used to teach face to face. Now we are online, for example. So we have this additional challenge. Also in face-to-face interaction is actually difficult to get engagement. So here we need to strike balances in plural, because we need to get the balance between keeping the advantages of being online and recreating that face-to-face interaction. Then we have the balance between collecting information from our students and actually being able to use them in, I wouldn't say real time, but almost. And last but not least, the balance between asking not too many questions, but asking the right questions. So there is really kind of incredible balancing that we need to do when we teach online. And so on this, we can definitely say that engagement is based on constructive interaction, not just any kind of interaction. And so this is where the challenge comes. Interaction is based on asking questions, and this is also where our new tools comes from. Of course, like, engagement is not, as we were saying, just during the course, but it's before the course, it's of course during the course, afterwards, and even after. So with a top level of advocacy. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about these stages, Pano?
Yes, it's a full funnel. Learning obviously is not something that happens on a specific instance. It's a constant process. It starts also with the motivation first, about if I want to learn something and how important it seems to me. Learning doesn't happen in isolation, it happens within a context. So being able to intrigue your users and increase their motivation and recruit them, co-opt them into having to learn something is a very, very important predictor of what the eventual outcome will be. So you have to want it, and you have to be attentive in order to be able to learn. Even if you have the perfect teacher and the perfect content, if you don't have an attentive student, you will not gain anything. So it's a full funnel. And you have to be able to intervene or to do your best at every stage. You have to start at the beginning, where how to attract your students, and attraction of students will also, when we're talking about a commercial online course, or if you're promoting and selling an online course, it also will include marketing messaging, something that will help your users to understand what the eventual outcome of that course will be. How will this course or the skill that they will acquire change their lives? What will be there for them? How is their after experience and self will look like? This is something that is very important about the first time of engagement with the students when we try to engage them, and this also can include some marketing material. Then is the actual learning experience, where we interact with the content, and this is the most time-consuming part for the student. This is where they will spend most of their time, and this is, I guess, where most of the platforms fail, because we've seen, and to this day, we steal platforms, and this is one of the major reasons why we chose to build LearnWorlds. We still see platforms where e-learning is considered to throw a 100-page PDF at somebody and say, okay, now you have been trained online, you got access to all this amazing PDF, 100 pages, so you have the skills. Doesn't work like that. You need to be able to offer an amazing learning experience, engaging, interactive, especially to millennials and like young students who are used to working with and interacting every day with digital devices, gaming devices, tablets, iPads, amazing apps. You cannot just offer them a passive experience. You need something that will be fast-paced, bite-sized, interactive, and engaging. But it also comes with what happens after the course, how you will be able to get their feedback. It's not just an online course or e-learning. It's not just a simple transaction that stops at the course. You need to be able to follow up. You need to be able to see what they learned or what they didn't learn so that you can improve. You need to be able to improve your own coursework and your own approach and your own teaching style and everything that you do in there, so that you can improve both your learning and your marketing. But then we also have the after, how you can co-opt your users, your learners into becoming your best promoters. how your alumni, the people who have gone through your courses will be your best advocates, your best affiliates, even in some cases, how they will cheer on their fellow students and help them, how they will leave positive reviews and bring more people back to you, how through the word of mouth, they will help you grow your brand and bring in more customers. So this is a full approach, and it starts again, because if you have a happy customer, he will also, a happy customer who has experienced an amazing learning trip through your course, they will be repeat customers. They will come back and they will want more and more content. So if you manage to stage interventions and become and set up an engaging experience for all these people through every step of the process, you will have amazing results when it comes both to the learning and to the commercial success of your online product.
Indeed. So can you tell us a little bit more about the form builder, just as a an introduction, and then after that we deep dive into actually seeing how to use it for every stage?
Well, this is a tool where many people came to us and told us that we're probably crazy not to launch that as a separate tool or even as a separate product or platform or business. But we're not here to creating new businesses. We're here to create the best platform, the best e-learning platform that the world has ever seen. So we decided that we don't want to create a generic form builder that people would use, although this tool easily competes with, Typeform or Google Form Builder or anything else. But what we're doing here is creating an amazing form builder that is designed by course creators and for course creators, and it ties perfectly well with all your online courses and all the business models that you can create around your online courses. So this is a super powerful tool. It's we call it in some cases we call it a Swiss knife, a Swiss Army knife of a tool where there are so many amazing, powerful capabilities that can be combined in all these 4 stages that we mentioned. It can start from the very first steps about capturing leads, and these are obviously necessary to grow your reach, all the way to the actual course presentation, where you can enhance the interactivity of your online courses, your ebooks, your videos, or anything else, to the post stage of gathering feedback and understanding what happened within your course, all the way to the actual advocacy and promotion, where people will show how satisfied they have been with the course. So this is a very powerful tool that can really complement everything you do within your online courses, and it can really complement not just the e-learning building experience, but also the marketing potential of your online courses.
Indeed, like we have plenty of feature within the features as well. If I can say, like, my personal favorite, I'm biased, I know, it's the tagging, and later on Elisa is going to show it to us, so I'm really excited about that too.
There are so many. If you can go back to the previous slide, there are so many things that this tool can do, and I have to say that every day the product team is really excited to see new uses of the tool that we hadn't anticipated. I mean, we understood that the tool was very powerful, and we have already prescribed lots and lots of different scenarios, and we're like writing lots of content and doing webinars around this tool. But every day we're amazed by the creativity of the actual creators and the course sellers, and how they're finding ways to complement these different tools. So starting from the different question types, using the file uploader, starting from the e-learning specific templates that we offer, but using all the different tools, the sharing functionality, either using the forms as a standalone tool or embedding it within the courses. We have seen some amazing examples, and we will keep gathering all these examples and sharing back with the community. So all the best forms that we see every day and all the best usages, we know that every learn we learn some of the best tips from our own customers and how they use the platform themselves.
Absolutely. And we do have already some examples though that we want to share. So we will start with that. And we will start, of course, with the first step. So when we want to expand our reach and attract new learners. So at a very, very essence, how can we use the forms here? This is a capturing lead or applicants, depending on the kind of business model that you may have. It takes different shapes. It can be newsletter subscription, free consultation, any sort of lead magnet that you may offer, or as we said, like an application for employee applications, or even online courses, or sign up for a free section of a course or a pre-course. So there are so many things you can do, and I'm just mentioning some, and I've already made a really long list. The point is that in our case, the form builder is not just enabling you to capture that one lead that comes from your site, well, more than one, we hope, of course, but it also helps collecting leads that are coming from outside, from your external channels, because you can share it. So you can collect from social media, for example, if you're having a campaign there, from guest posting, if you have been published somewhere else outside your school, from paid advertising and any other external channels that you may be using. So for example, let's say that you're running a social media campaign, and from there you have a link that goes straight into our your form builder, for example, to download a valuable piece of content that you want to share with your audience. You get their email. You can nurturing them a bit more with some emails, for example, and then after a while they get a little bit more convinced, and either they get in touch with you, they sign up straight for your course, or why not, they sign up for a free section of a course, and they end up in somehow being like even closer to you. So this is how it works in general, like from external to internal. So you get to know them. It's like the online equivalent of shaking their hands and exchanging a business card. For this, in the platform, we have quite a few templates as well. I'm not going to go through them, but I think that this is quite clear in terms of workflow, what it can be done at the very first stage, from attracting customers into the school. The next stage, it's absolutely utmost important, which is improve completion rates. As we said at the very beginning, this is probably the biggest challenge ever for online educators, and so we thought about that too. Panos, can you tell us a little bit more what we can do with the form builder and in general, actually, to improve completion rates?
Well, the way I'm thinking about the course builder is, I guess, having some experience as an actual teacher. These are all the things that you ever wanted to, these are all the moments where you would interact with your students in a physical classroom. So when you have a new classroom, you're going to teach something, whether it's math, marketing, physics, computer science, whatever. One of the first things that you're trying to understand is, what do they already know? What is their current state? So this is probably one of the very, very first things that our customers, one of the very first feature requests we had from our customers when we launched the very first version of LearnWorlds back in 2014, like, how will I be able, before the course starts, to ask some questions to my students so that they can understand what is their level of experience, what are their goals, what are their demographics, so that I can better tailor their experience to them. Perhaps enroll them into a different version of the course, or adapt a bit the let's say the content or the questions or the path that they will be experiencing. That's a very natural thing for every teacher to understand, that you're not just going into a classroom and start teaching what you have in your head, but you are trying to adapt the knowledge to the situation in front of you, to the audience in front of you. And this is what we're able to do here with the form builder at any stage. Instead of having our own pre-recorded, preconceived, static version of the course, we are now able to interact, ask questions, understand what the other person is expecting, We might not always be able to really transform our entire course on the spot. In some cases, this can happen later, but at least I will have been able to capture that information and process this information later and adapt my course. So, for example, onboarding, it's something that is very classical thing. We have people signing up to a course. We don't know who they are. If it's an online course, you don't know who they are. You don't know what they expect. So how are you supposed to teach them better? How you are supposed to adapt your course better? So why not have an amazing onboarding form? Super easy to complete. We always try to make it super easy with the templates. So you don't start from scratch, but we give you ideas and building blocks, even in the form builder, to start getting your to get your form ready. So this is where you can understand who your students are, what do they want to achieve, what are their objectives, so that you can better refine your course and adapt your course, and also your marketing strategy. Because if you know the demographics and who your students are, you will be able to find more of them and bring them back to your course. Understand what is the level of experience, whether you're teaching to the right level, or you should also you should go lower or higher in their expectations or in the difficulty, let's say, of the course, so that you have an optimal level of difficulty. And this is also where you talk to your students, you listen to them. This is where you're trying to get them to be motivated and get them to commit. They will not commit if you just give them a ready-made product. But once you ask them, it's amazing how human psychology works. Once you start asking people provide answers, and they, even by that way, they feel more committed about their doing, and they understand that somebody is listening to them. It's not just a passive video that they will be watching, but there is somebody on the other end that gets this information and uses this information to provide a better experience and a better offering.
Indeed, and a way, for example, to do it online, to do it live, almost like at the same time. So it would be to add a very simple form within your learning activities. For example, at the end of every section, just to go incredibly practical here, just asking, do you have any questions? Is there anything I can explain better? And then maybe weekly you can have a live session going through with all these questions. So you can implement live what has been asked, not just as a feedback to for the next learners. And out of this, you can create documents, for example, with FAQs and so on, so that extra content stays with you. You wanted to add something? Sorry.
It's amazing how a simple act like asking somebody if they're satisfied with what they learned, or if they're missing something in what they learned, it's amazing how much of a difference that can make, because people understand obviously that you care, you form a connection there, and you will have the time to react to this feedback, to this information. So it will help you improve your content, as we mentioned, in the long term, but it will also help you immediately or in the next session react and offer remedy to a problem that might have arisen with one person or with all the persons in the classroom or in the cohort. So this feedback loop is instrumental in education, is instrumental in instructional design. You're not just going there and recite your poem and go to the next course. You have to understand what was the impact of the teaching, how it was received by students, and be able to make all these little adaptations. And people will value that effort you make. In some cases, you will just respond with something that will cover your entire base. In other cases, you can also go and offer micro feedback to each individual student. And this will be if you are offering a premium course, or let's say you have a coaching class that you are setting up. These interactions are the ones that will make your students feel valued, feel the effort that you are putting into the course, keep them motivated and keep them engaged for the future.
Indeed, and you can ask for feedback about anything. by the way, not just about the, I don't know, the instructor or the course itself. You can ask feedback about even your branding, or what do you think about, you know, the website, the content, the instructor. This is probably the most intuitive way of using forms. And another way is also, for example, it could be used as a pre-registration for an advanced course. So you can use it a little bit for upselling as well. Where we don't ask for a straight commitment to the users yet, but we let them understand that they have an exclusive path to reaching their new level. We can also check prerequisites and all these sort of things through the forms. So of course, this is the workflow that it's pretty clear for feedback. Come on, we don't need to deep dive into it again. And what's wrong with me tonight? Last but not least, we have advocacy as well, which comes after the feedback. Of course, it's not just about a positive feedback. It's about having that positive feedback going back at the beginning of the journey of somebody else. Yeah,
exactly, Sarah. This is like all feedback loops become positive at that point and can really enhance the experience. This is where we can understand what happened. Even bad feedback is immensely valuable when it comes to, if it's honest and comes from an actual student. But also, as you can imagine, in the age of social media, any positive feedback where you can have permission to share can be an amazing opportunity for marketing and growing your brand and enhancing word of mouth. And this is where the actual connection between you as an expert, as an instructor, and the students gets solidified, and you can start building on top of that connection to create more value for the future, whether it's by your students promoting your courses, being happy about them, being vocal about what they experienced. Some of the best marketing material we have seen for some of our top course sellers, but also for our brand, have been just honest, amazing user reviews. There's no better material than an amazing review that you can share. So this is just one of the parts where even at the end of a course you can create. First, you can ask people their opinion. That's not taken for granted, and it already seems very, very valuable to them, and they can understand it. But also you can create something that can help you improve the content of your courses and the effectiveness of your marketing. And again, here, as I mentioned before, this is how I perceive this form builder for all the cases, the 4 stages that we mentioned so far. The form builder is the tool that helps you listen to your students. Otherwise, you're just doing the talking. You have the videos, you have the ebooks, whatever. You can have an amazing content, but you don't have the interactivity. This tool allows you to go in at very strategic places at the beginning, when you're first meeting your students, when they start their course, during the course, once they finish a learning unit, or once they finish the entire course. You can ask them, you can get their opinion, and you can create all these positive feedback loops. And the examples that you are sharing here today are amazing platforms to start building and start thinking more creatively about what is possible.
Indeed. And actually, on this note, I'd love to ask Elisa to show us the platform so that we can actually do all these amazing things we've been talking about.
I'm also waiting for that very, very much, for seeing the thing work. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, thank you so much. Everything you shared, it was very, very helpful. But let me just say that was mostly theory. I think that I actually have the most fun part of the presentation. So I'm going to share the dashboard of a LearnWorlds School, just so that you can see right from the inside exactly how the tool works, how to set it up, how the layout works. You will see that it's so easy to use. We've made it quite similar to the site builder that most of you are familiar with, exactly, just so that you don't have to learn a new tool from scratch. So before I start sharing, let me just say that so there's one form builder, but you can add a form either within a course or within any page of your school. So essentially one form builder, but you can add it really throughout the rest of the school. So let me start sharing my screen, and if you like to, you can also let me know whether you can see it. All right. Okay, so let me also eliminate this. I have more screen size. Right, so right now, what you should be seeing is me signed into one of our schools. And so this is just a course I've opened just so that I can show you. And let's go through two examples. So the first one is a very typical one where we ask for feedback. And that could be, again, either for the whole course or for a specific author or part of the course. It's really up to you. But for this example, we're going to go towards the end of a course. So for those of you who are not familiar, this is essentially the authoring part, the dashboard of the admin, where you start building your courses and you add your activities. So let's go ahead and add a form to ask for feedback about the course. So click on Add Activity and go over to the questionnaires. So you will find the form right here. So simply click right here and then give your form a title. So I'm going to name this Course Evaluation and click on Save and go for Edit Form. So what this will do is that it will create the form activity, and now you're ready to start and select the template for the form. So as mentioned, there's quite a few options of pre-made templates that we have created for you, just so that you can start from there and then build that up and customize it, or you may even create an empty one and just start from scratch. So it's up to you. For this one, I'm just going to go over to the courses category. You'll see a few over here: lead captures, contact forms, marketing research, and even different ones as well. So I'm going to go for this one, and we're going to add a course evaluation. So right away, this will add the form into the form builder, and let's see what we have over here. So you will see that, again, for those of you who are familiar with the site builder, that you can add more questions from here. So you'll see, again, quite a few options for the questions when it comes to text, contents, file uploads that we mentioned earlier, ratings and rankings, date and time, content, and so on. So really anything you can add from here simply by clicking on it. Then you will see that each one of the questions that you have in the form are also listed over here for you to manage. You can reorder these from here. You can add a new one. You can copy them and find more options over here. So here's the first one where you ask for the course evaluation. So this is what it looks like. You can delete the questions, find more settings over here. And what's very useful, and it's what Sarah actually mentioned, is the tagging option. And I'm going to show that. So let's say that someone answers and rates your course, your author, or whatever you're using this for, right? So let me go over here. And you'll see that what we can do over here is that we can actually assign a tag to any one of these options. So think about it. Let's say that you want to run a campaign where you want to ask for testimonials, right? Now you want to address this email to people that you need to make sure that those people actually left a good review, right? So what you can do in this case is that you can actually tag these options, just type in your tag, whatever you want this to be, and then you can target those specific users that took this answer, that answered with 5 stars, for instance. And that could apply really to any question with answers, with possible answers. So yeah, very, very useful right here. Add the tags and then use them to market and to, to target specific users. So here's the tagging option that Sarah mentioned, and we're going to see later on as well. So let me just save this one and preview this real quick, just so that you can see how that would look like from within the course player. And the course player is a layout where you view all of the material on a course. So let me go all the way down, and it's right here. So this is what this would look like right here. This you can collapse, and simply just like that, very easy, as you can see. Again, you can further customize this. So This is the first example where you can ask for feedback. Now let me jump back to the authoring mode over here, and let me go for another option. Now, like we mentioned, in an online school, you really don't know your learners. So in case you need to ask more information, more to onboard your students, here is where you can use the forms as well. So in this case, I'm going to add it right on top of the course and ask that firsthand right away. When they get into the course, they'll have to fill in that information, the onboarding information. So once more, simply click on add activity to do that, go over to the questionnaires, and the form is right here. So give this one a title, and I'm going to name this just onboarding perhaps. So if you did a typo like I did, simply just type right in and correct that. Right, and now let's go over to edit form. So you'll see it's the same process as earlier. You get to select the form that you want to start with, again, either from scratch or it's up to you. And I'm going to go for this one this time, introduce yourself. Now, this already has a few questions for you to go through. So what I didn't show earlier is that, again, you can manage these questions. You can delete any of these that you're not going to use. It's very easy to do. So you can reorder these. So let me show that a little bit more. You can create sections just to further categorize your questions as well. You can rename the sections over here. For instance, have this intro or whatever you want this to be. Let me also show you a few more things. So you can add widgets. So click on the plus icon and you'll see that you can add a ton of things just to further customize your form. So that could be headings, text, animations, buttons. You can embed code that we mentioned earlier. By this option over here, you can add icons, images, other screens, videos and images, pacers, and so on. So a ton of options over here regarding the widgets. And again, like we saw earlier, you can also add more questions. So any questions that you'll add over here will also be listed into the options over here. And what we actually saw earlier is that they can even add captures. So let me add one just so that you can see that. So if you go over to the file upload, for instance, you can see that you can have them upload a file. And that's how that would look. You can select this and select exactly what file they'd be adding. For instance, if you want them to take a short video of themselves and just introduce themselves like that, you can do that. You can just disable all these other options, you know, and just have them upload something from their camera directly. You can change the title over here, of course. You know, upload your introductory video or anything that you'd like this to say, you can change that from there. And really any other question you can change up, you can format, further format, delete, and so on. So let me save this. And before we preview this, let me go through some of the other settings over here at the top. So if you go over to the design menu, you'll find some more options regarding the theme explorer. So what is this? So here's where you further customize the look and feel of the form, right? Now, so besides the information that you require in the questions, you can also further format this, make this more appealing, more pretty, if you may. So from here, you can change up the colors, minimal, have it minimal, have colors like this. Really anything that you like. I kind of prefer this one, to be honest. You can change the vertical spacing between the questions from here, as you can see. Just make it more spacey or more condensed. You can change the layouts as well from here. So really anything that you like, a ton of options over here. Next up, we have the backgrounds. You can switch these as well, change up the colors. Really anything you want to. You can add images and so on. The form container, you can change that as well. Next up, we have the typography. So over here regarding any text, any fonts that you want to, any colors and so on, you can change that from here. Moving on, we have the navigation in between the questions. So right now it's on a classic form where they see all of the questions in one, but you can change that into a card-based, a section-based, and so on. So a few options over here as well. And finally, we have effects. So if you want to add any effects to, let's say, buttons for here as well, you can see that it's kind of scratched. You can select these as well. So yeah, very easy to use over here. Let me go back. And next up, you'll find more options on the settings as well. So let me click right here into after submission. So after someone submits the form, you can choose exactly what to show. You can either show an ending screen, something like thank you for taking a survey or something like that. Or you may even redirect them to another page, which is also very, very helpful. Another option is that in case somebody revisits the form, you can choose whether they'll you'll be able to restart it and so on. And something very, very helpful is that you can also choose to save up all of this leads information in your leads page in LearnWorlds. So very, very helpful. It goes right there. And then, sorry, here's this one's for you as well. Another tag option. Now, if you remember, we saw another tag option just earlier, which essentially allowed you to tag all the possible answers of a question, which is extremely helpful. This one right here allows you to tag the whole form, just so that you know exactly. So essentially, this will tag the users, right? So if you give this form onboarding, for instance, right, then the users that will take this form will have the tag onboarding on them, just so that, again, in case you need to follow up, you know exactly what those users are. Now, what does the follow-up mean? That could even mean emails. It could be Zapier automation. It could be a pop-up. Perhaps you can set up a pop-up in the school and have it only be visible to users with a specific tag, right? So that you can follow after these users, you can follow up, and you can offer more information according to either their answers or the form that they took, right? So very, very useful right here. Perhaps you have a form or a question that straight away you ask about their interests, right? So according to what their interests were, if you were to release some new material on that topic, then right away you can create a new pop-up that will only appear to the users that are tagged with that interest, with that choice. So as you can see, very, very helpful right here for the follow-up process. So that's what the tagging process is. You can either select a tag from here, or you can just simply create yours. You know, just type it in and click on enter, and you'll create the tag. So very, very helpful right here. Next up, we have the sharing option. So this is what we mentioned as well. So here's where you can actually make the form shareable. So you can do that from here. And as soon as you do that, you'll also get the link for it so that you can share the link of the form. So yeah, you can have more people coming in from other sources as well for the form. So let me close this off. More if you have any, actually, you create the form and then your users go through with it. So what you can do afterwards is, of course, view responses. Now, this one we just created, so that's why you see 0 over here. But of course, if you click right here, you'd be able to see and analyze and even export all of the responses from your users just to further work on them, you know, to go through them, and then you'll have more information to work on for perhaps changes in the future. So again, if you click on preview right here, let me do that. You can see exactly how the form looks like, again, on the course player. And yeah, so this one is right here. You can move this up, and let me just do that actually. So let me save this and just go back, just to show you how you can do that again, because we'd like for this to be the first thing that they see. So that can be very easily done. So over to the Contents tab, where you offer the course, you can simply just drag this activity all the way to the top. Right here. Sorry, I think I didn't do it. All right, I think it did not stay there, but it's fine. So that's how you do it, but right now it's a little slower, like I said, due to the webinar. All right, so let me.
We had a question as well. You actually? We had a question. Could you go through the 16 question types that we have available as well?
Yeah, sure. Let me find that. So going back to edit form, and if you want to check out the question types, all you need to do is go over here, click on the add question. So all of them are right here, and it could be multiple choice with multiple answers, drop down, a country list, consent forms, different text types like a short text, a paragraph, other contacts, like if you need their information, first name, last name, emails for lead magnets, email captures, phone numbers. You can have URLs as well. The file upload that we just checked also, rating and ranking, star if you want for them to leave a review, date and time if you want them to input that information for some reason, content blocks like titles, blocks with titles with text and images as well. Same here. The button to submit the form, and again, a title and a video. So these are essentially the question types, quite a few over here. You can use a combination. And again, really anything you have in mind, you can customize these, you can change up the text, you can change up the formatting, the backgrounds, and so on. So I hope this answers your question.
Yes, absolutely. And we had also another question to just clarify something you mentioned. Nathan is asking about the consent form and how would that work?
So essentially, according to what you want to consent with, this you will find later on in the response. So like I mentioned, there is a response section right here. So if someone consents to whatever your term is right there, you will be able to see that from here, whether they consented or not, and then do with that information whatever you will according to what you're going to use it for. So
yeah, exactly. This is especially useful. Oh, sorry. This is especially useful for marketing forms as well. So when they are outside the course.
Yes.
So before they actually sign up, and when they are becoming your leads, if they consent, for example, to you sending some extra emails or getting in touch with them with a phone call or, you know, anything you ask.
Absolutely.
For example,
I'm
not sure about Nathan, what you're asking right now.
I think what Nathan asks for makes sense. You can have a course where you might have some more sensitive material, so you can have people to consent right before that course. So you would put that form at the beginning of the course. I think I also saw a question from Hidezuku, was it? About cookie privacy consent. We do have a separate tool just for cookies, so you don't need that form. We have that covered. There's another tool we launched probably 3 years ago within LearnWorlds, where you can have that. For your website. So there's a very specific tool for. Yes, sorry, Lisa.
No, it's okay. I was just saying that, yes, we already have a very specific section on your general school settings regarding cookies. So you'll find that there you don't need to create it from scratch.
Yes. So for the forms, I mean, every time, like as Elisa was showing the tool, I was thinking of new ways to use the form. Like even when we have, let's say, the form uploader, the file uploader, or when we have the possibility to send a screenshot or a photo, you can imagine this can be a piece of identity if you're doing online exams and you want to make sure that the person in front of you, even sitting in front of the camera, so you can have them send a photo of them sitting in front of the laptop. It can be a piece of identity. It can be something that they created, a photo that they took, and then they share it back with the community. So I think you can all realize that the possibilities are immense. And probably it will take us a few months ourselves to see what is possible with this tool and discover new ways and find new opportunities and new affordances to connect this tool, both within the platform, but also things that you can do externally, as you would share this platform with an external tool. Yes, of course, it's Apple iMac friendly. As with any, it's pretty compatible with anything that was out there. You can even use it from a mobile device.
Yeah, I'm being conscious of time. We made a promise that we will do this under 60 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead with the next.
Do you want me to stop sharing?
Yes, please. I think I can do it. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Excellent. So the form builder is not the only feature that is interactive in LearnWorlds, as we said, Elisa, correct? So we have like few more. Can you tell us like a little bit more about these activities as well? We're gonna just brush through them really quickly, but for the sake of engagement, I think it's very important to mention those two.
Yeah, so I'm just simply going to list these. If you need more information on that, you'll find more on our knowledge base and our resources as well. So the first thing on the list is the interactive videos, a very powerful tool. It allows you to essentially add interactive elements on top of your own videos. So that could include questions, perhaps. If they're watching something, they may get tired and slacking, just to further raise engagement, you can pop up a question that will pause the video and will actually make them engage and answer that. So not only questions, it could be text, it could be, you may even embed items on top of the video. So very useful tool right there. The other tool that we utilize is the community, and your school can have its own community where you can post, you can like, and you can follow. So that really does raise engagement. They do communicate with each other. They get to know each other. Again, this is optional. You can turn this off. They may even create their own private groups and even have their own discussions based on like a class group. So you can leave this private to only users that are enrolled to a specific course, and they can have their own private group. Moving on, we have the interactive ebooks, and we say interactive because they actually are. So you can create your own ebook, and that actually does have some interactive tools for your learners. So that includes a highlighter. You can highlight some part of the text, and this is something we don't commonly see on ebooks on the internet. So you can highlight it. Just let's say that you're studying for exams, right? And you want some part of the text to really stand out. You can choose from 3 different colors. You can create notes, and you also have your own dedicated page into the dashboard to see all of those notes as well. You can star the content. You can select some part of the text and share it on the community. You can also have your own SCORMs, so you can embed your SCORMs and use them throughout the school. You can have your live classes, pretty much like this one. You can have webinars, you can have live classes, and we do that via our native integration with with Zoom and WebEx. Networking pages, so essentially you can view really anyone that's on the school. So all the learners, you can message them, you can follow them, and so on. We have our own branded mobile app, both for iOS and Android as well. So if you choose to go with an app, that is an excellent choice, especially right now in 2022. I think that we're all on our phones constantly. And finally, we also have different integrations with different tools. But for instance, you can even integrate chat box, right? So in case someone has trouble with the content, they can just directly contact you and ask for some information, right? Well, in other ways, they'd have to either email you, and perhaps that would make them either quit or just don't do it really, and they'd lose interest. So quite a few options over here that I believe that all of this together would significantly raise engagement and make your learners just more motivated to move forward with their education. So Sarah, I think that's pretty much it with the list.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Elisa, for taking us through this journey. It was very quick, but I hope that everybody got a very good idea of the potential that the Form Builder has, and most importantly, that your school has because of this enablement. So quickly, we were thinking whether, Panos, you can tell us a little bit about LearnWorlds for those who are not so familiar with us. And after this, we're going to move straight into Q&As if we have some time left.
I think the presentation already so far showed the immense potential of LearnWorlds. LearnWorlds can be the only platform that you would ever need to create and sell online courses. And it's an online business in a box. And in fact, here in LearnWorlds, we have some schools that are running with more than 300,000 students, generating multi-million-dollar revenue per year, and their entire sites run only on LearnWorlds. That's the only software they need to run an online school. So this is an amazing all-in-one platform. We call it sometimes as a Shopify for the knowledge economy, but this analogy is quite, I guess, it doesn't do service to the depth and power that LearnWorlds can bring, because it's not just about creating a mini, let's say, digital product and selling it online. You've seen what the Pages Builder is able to do. You've seen what the Form Builder is able to do. I'm very proud about the product. This feature of the Form Builder, which, as I mentioned, could be an entire business on its own. Anybody who has ever been into a classroom or tried to teach something to another person understand how important it is to listen and to interact. And this is the tool that allows our courses to listen to students. It wasn't possible so far. That was one of the very first, as I mentioned, it was one of the very first feature requests that we ever got. There were, and some people, even in the audience today, might be using workarounds like embedding forms or using Typeform or using Google Forms or anything else and getting some kind of this interactivity. But the level of completeness and engagement that this tool can provide to all your not just your courses, but your entire e-learning business. From the very first moment that you meet, that somebody visits your website, all the way to when they are a happy customer at the end and they have received a few certificates perhaps, and they want to share back how amazing this experience was. All these things, this is where the form builder gives a new dimension to your online courses. So instead of being just a broadcaster, with the form builder, you start to listen to people and to get information from them, either very, very specific, like them answering, agreeing to some terms or uploading an image, or in general throughout, like getting feedback throughout their course. This is a new level of potential for you to enhance your courses and to enhance your marketing capacity. This is a game changer in the course building space. And this is what we're going to keep doing, adding more and more features into LearnWorlds that will make your experience more complete. We're not here to replace traditional learning, but in some cases we can make it so much better, and we can definitely make it so much more scalable and help you reach a global audience and be able to sell or share your courses 24/7 to a global audience. That's something that only you can do only through a platform that is as powerful and evolves as fast as LearnWorlds. So this is what we're here for, to get better every single day. And in fact, this form builder has been a tool that was months in the making, and includes some amazing design, some amazing instructional design, and some amazing engineering, and also great presentations, as here from Elisa and Sarah, to explain what is actually feasible with this tool. And we're still learning about that. So I really hope you will have a blast. You will discover new things. You will teach us new things about how to take advantage of this tool. And we promise to make our best and keep improving and keep giving you the best tools that you would ever need as an educator to really do amazing stuff out there.
Thank you so much, Panos, for this conclusion. I think it's very inspiring also listening to everything. It's not just about the platform itself, but the possibilities that this is opening, obviously. So we want to launch a small challenge. Now it's your turn to create form builders, and we absolutely want to know what are you creating. So please do get in touch. You will receive an email tomorrow with the recording and the slides. And as soon as you create your own form, why not taking a screenshot, sending it back to us, or using even your what's new section in the platform. Feel free to drop me an email, anything. So we really want to know how you're getting on with the form and with the interactivity in particular, and also if you have any challenge, maybe we can support you with. And I have to say that between Elisa and Cosmas, the answer to anything that I saw, I think. I went through many questions while we were speaking. I think that we're covered.
Yeah.
So I think that we're, yeah. Elisa, did you see more questions?
I think there was a question from Michael as well about rating visibility. I'm not sure if I will answer that correctly. I don't think right now we have a way of actually measuring all the, let's say, the average of the star rating that we got for a particular course and be able to show it. But this can be done manually. So you can record everything, and we can have a specific widget where you can show the star rating. But this is something that we will be working on, I think, very soon. So there's a way to accomplish that, but it's not super automated. So I guess even if you're getting a few dozen ratings per week, I don't know, once per week, you can go in and really make an update and show there the actual rating. I hope I'm not getting a bad grade on my knowledge of the platform. The platform is evolving so fast that sometimes I feel I'm being left behind. So hopefully Elisa can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the way.
You are not wrong, but also keep in mind that responses can be exported. So you can open them with Excel, and you can also use the Excel tools to see, average responses and so on. So keep that in mind as well.
Yes, and I think I also have seen some people somewhere in the platform using some widgets where you can, like, not from LearnWorlds, but you can embed some rating widgets where you can feed an Excel file, or you can even have some static values. I would go with the static values and change them once per week or once per month if it's not like super urgent to do it. I think later on, I've seen that this should be coming at some point in the future. I hope I understood the answer. The question correctly. I think you will be able to figure out a solution. There is a solution for every problem in LearnWorlds. There are so many ways to customize the platform and really connect the different dots. This is why it's the most customizable platform by far, and it's preferred by huge businesses who want to create really unique sites, and they're not being constrained by design or functionality, because you can really push it to the edge.
Indeed.
Yep.
But thank you so much to everyone for being here today, for for all your super comments that they come through. Like, I'm gonna go and say it sounds love to me. So thank you for that too. It's flattering, and we are just really, really happy to see that we created something that you really, really wanted, and that is going to improve your school, your business, and you, and most importantly, the experience that your students have with your schools. So we wish you a very good evening. If you have, as said, any question that you may come up with.
Let me just add something. Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
If any other questions come up, if later on, if you get to play around and you need help, you can always contact us and just drop a line to our support team at support@learnworlds.com, and we will get your question answered from there.
Exactly. Perfect. So yes, thank you so much. Have a good evening for Europeans, a good rest of the day for everybody else. And I'll see you the next time online. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Elisa. Stay safe, everyone.
Thanks, Panu. Bye-bye.